In 1966, Gene Roddenberry aired the first episode of Star Trek, which included many amazing technologies. What did these technologies do, and why did they impact the technology we have today? Article 1. The Universal Translator. This was a device that could take anything that any person or alien was saying and convert it to English. The Universal Translator would interpret the brain patterns of a humanoid life form to find out what it was saying. Based closely on this example, Microsoft is developing Skype Translator, which can translate any language in real time. The only setback is that it can only work with known languages, but the Microsoft blog later noted, "It is early days for this technology, but the Star Trek vision for a universal translator isn't a galaxy away, and its potential is every bit as exciting as those Star Trek examples." Article 2. The Handheld Computer. Starfleet officers in Star Trek The Next Generation often used handheld touchscreen computers, personal access display devices, or PADs for short. But you would better know it by its close offspring, the tablet. You would be surprised to find that Apple Company's iPad is extremely close to the pad. They are both similar in shape, size, and are both the same concept, beside the fact that one is fictional and one is indeed very real. Article 3. Energy Weapons. In Star Trek, the weapon of choice was always the phaser, which could both stun or vaporize any target. We may not have anything such as a vaporizing pistol, but we are very close to another energy weapon, the laser gun. The U.S. military is presently working on a weapon of similar nature, called directed energy weapons, which basically shoot out energy beams. They reportedly tested them most recently in the summer of 2015, although we have not heard anything else on the subject. Article 4. Medical Tricorder. A medical tricorder was a device that could record data, scan, and compute data. Right now there are teams developing something of this nature in hopes of winning the $7 million prize of the Qualcomm Tricorder X Prize competition. According to the guidelines, the device needs to be able to continuously monitor 5 vital signs, namely blood pressure, electrocardiography, body temperature, respiratory rate, and oxygen saturation, as well as screen for over a dozen different conditions, including whooping cough, hypertension, mononucleosis, shingles, melanoma, HIV, and osteoporosis. The closest developed device works by being set next to the patient's forehead, so we are actually very close to this potential. Article 5. Warp Drive. Dr. White hopes at NASA's Johnson Space Center is trying to develop a way for humans to be able to travel around the solar system within the next 50 years. He says that what could happen is they could somehow make the empty space behind a ship expand rapidly. Then it would push the ship forward. It would make the ship feel as if it were moving, even though there is a complete lack of acceleration. White speculates that such a drive could result in speeds that could take a spacecraft to Alpha Centauri in a mere 2 weeks, even though the system is more than 4.3 light-years away. Although Scotty can't exactly beam us up, or we can't have anything we could possibly think of to eat just by pressing a few buttons, and we can't live through a book on the holodeck, we have had some technological advances because of Star Trek technology. I think that this is important to history because of the technological breakthroughs we have had resulting from some of the Star Trek technology's ideas. It affects us in the ways that the technologies affect us. We now have things like pads and translators that change our lives entirely. And when we look at these roots, the first thing that comes to mind is Star Trek, the very heart of exploration. It inspired people to go out and explore the world of inventions and encounter new breakthroughs in technology to change the world for the better, to make our lives easier, and to show the future generations that if you put your mind to it, it can be done. If we can exchange ideas and work to get our goals, then maybe one day we may boldly go where no man has gone before.